Hello, and welcome to the Miskatonic Playhouse. I'm T.A. Newman, your host. My team and I will be bringing to life adventures using the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, which contains mature themes, cosmic horror, character death, and loss of sanity. Our mystery can be found in the Miskatonic repository, where people like you and me can write adventures for others to play. Our mystery can be found in the Miskatonic repository, where people like you and me can write adventures for others to play. We'd like to thank Syrinscape, whose tools have helped provide the background sounds that you hear. And if you'd like to become a friend of the Playhouse, then please support us on Ko-fi. That's kofi.com/Miskatonic Playhouse, where you can gain access to exclusive shows and content for as little as £1. Our investigators discover a troubling link between the mysterious disappearances of local young men and an unsettling connection to the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society. With the spring ball fast approaching, tensions escalate as they race against time to uncover the truth before the next victim is claimed. Now it's time to pull back the curtain and roll the dice. Keeper, the stage is yours.
Dearest viewer, good evening, and welcome once again to the Miskatonic Playhouse. As always, I am your most humble servant, ValyGirl Heather, and the keeper for tonight's ongoing story, The Well of All Fear by Capt. Tonight, we begin our two-part finale as we rejoin our investigators on one of the holiest days in Christendom, Easter Sunday. Dear viewer, you may remember their visit to Buxton and their dear friend, Miss Louisa Millwood, took a dark turn after stumbling upon a most sinister plot by the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society. This conspiracy to return life to the dying local lands has led our investigators to uncover the dangerous truth that a ritual sacrifice probably need to be completed by the stroke of midnight at a yet undisclosed location. To further complicate matters, the subject of this dastardly act is none other than the missing brother of their dear companion, Mr. Henry Millwood, a known cad and rake around town. Now is the time, dear viewers, to return to Buxton and see what fate awaits our intrepid band of seekers, for the dangers are closer than ever. But I do not necessarily speak of the ominous plans of the BLHS, but a far more delicate and deadly situation for our brave amateur sleuths as they find themselves faced with the event of the season, the spring ball at Huntley Hall. Once again, I extend to all of you an invitation to join us, and let us set the stage for this tale of mystery, mayhem, and murder to come to its gripping conclusion. My investigators, let us now begin. Easter Sunday services are about to occur. They go on without a hitch, and our dear Reverend, well, he does his best, as he did not get the best of night's sleep. The dark under-eye circles that appear on his face belie to those in the know, i.e. all of you, exactly how little sleep he received. But he provides the service with both spirit and dignity. But the excitement of the evening's activities that are going on in preparation for the spring ball permeate the reverence of the occasion, like the crackling of lightning during a storm. In fact, the world around you feels as if it's on the precipice of a squall. The atmosphere weighs heavily on the body and thick on the lungs. Breathing feels this side of laborious, as if the wind itself is holding its breath tight. The air in the church is filled with the jarring scent of lilies and decay. The beautiful flowers that were brought in just this morning from several towns away have already wilted and begun to turn brown, just in the few short hours of the service. The trees and plants around you as you exit the church wither at your touch, and the natural environment feels like it is covered in an ashy rot. The waters in the Buxton thermal spring emit a strong, unnatural smell into the air. And you do notice dead fish floating on the surface of the nearby River Wye. You overhear people comment about how the water flowing from both St. Anne's Well and in the baths has turned a sickly yellow and tastes heavy, leaden, metallic even. Investigators, it is after the service, and I believe the Reverend has asked you to stand aside to impart some of the information that he's discovered from the evening before. I open the floor to you, please. Reverend?
Mr. Fergusson has seen the last of the parishioners of the congregation out of the church. Unfortunately, having led the congregation this morning, he's having to shake all of the hands and give blessings as everybody leaves the church. And he looks over to where he hopes Miss Chesterton, Mrs. Aid, and Captain Trumpeter are waiting in the vestry as well. Are they there? Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as soon as the doors close, you see Mr. Fergusson's shoulders visibly drop as he struggles to regain the energy that he's expended this service, and he quickly hastens over to the vestry. My good friends, I have something of the utmost import to tell you. I take it I trust you received my letter last night. I fear that we are in a much more dangerous situation than even we expected. We thought that Mr. Millwood and some of the other rakish fellows who have disappeared over the past few years were the aim of this organization. However, and he pulls out a book from inside his vestries. Vestments. That's the word. He pulls out a book from inside his vestments. It's the same one he spent the entirety of last night reading in the candlelight until the candlestick burnt down to nothing. Here, it's all in here. This is not a recent phenomenon. This is an ancient phenomenon. This has been going on for centuries. Every single Eastertide, a young man loses his head to appease this pagan goddess that they worship in this godforsaken town. And he thrusts the book out for anybody to take.
I'll take it. I think Penelope starts rifling through with both concern and kind of morbid curiosity. Heavens, how awful and fascinating.
So in return for what? Why?
In return for, well, it sounded like in return for the vitality of the town. Have you not noticed how the plants are withering away at this moment? And do you not remember what Mr. Huntley said when we spoke to him, Captain, about how there's the annual cycle that the plants wither and die over the Holy Weekend and then bloom again afterwards?
Well, so what you're proposing is that these men are beheaded and then life comes back.
Correlation does not necessarily equal causation here, but if somebody has the belief that it will, and they every year are performing this ritual so that they believe that this will happen, it's the same way that the pagans used to sacrifice people at the year end so that the sun would rise. Well, you and I, we are both men of the world. We know that the sun will rise whatever happens. God will that of his own accord without any bloody sacrifices. I wonder whether it might be the same thing here.
Every year the town's vitality does indeed return, for we all hear such splendid things about Buxton all year round. I'm not saying that they are right, but it is also a possibility, in which case we must determine how to save Mr. Millwood, but not abandon Buxton to a deathly fate.
Well, it is
Quite.
fairly common in an English winter, is it not, for everything to die and then to return in the spring? I mean, back in Jamaica, obviously, the flowers bloomed all year round, but not in these climates. But even if it is a natural phenomenon, as Mr. Fergusson says, the belief that death will bring life back to the land is a powerful one, and if this community believes such a thing, then, as you say, we must save Mr. Millwood and we must stop it from happening again.
I see, Miss Chesterton, you have been paying attention to my sermon today, for did not our Lord and Saviour die that we may live?
Indeed, and on this, the holiest day of the year. Yes, it seems very fitting, does it not?
Well, perhaps it is simply a continuation of this belief then. Perhaps all of the plants died hundreds of years ago and then they killed his son to bring them all back. No?
It is a distinct possibility, yes. The sacrifice of a man's head, as bloody as it is, if one person saw it working, why not try it again the next year, even if it is a natural cycle? But the point stands. This is not a phenomenon that is new. This is an organization that has been performing these rites for centuries. They are going to be well prepared for whatever they are doing. Our task is not a small one. We are very much David against the Goliath of this organization today. If we are to rescue Mr. Millwood, we must prepare.
But how? How can we find him? He could be held anywhere.
You do remember that when you were at Huntley Hall the day before, with all the preparations going on, the flowers, the Greek statuaries, and all of the decor being put up, that when you found yourself in the Huntley study, you did find some papers, including one that seemed to be indicate the what is to come, in terms of the two pieces of paper. Let me bring that up. So the one to hold and one to cut. As midnight strikes and Mother Moon is high, 8 bodies dance around the graven grove tree. One man stands between 10 women, and from young blood blooms eternity. You found that. And then you also found a map with 2 red X's on it. The first one, points to the baths near the hotel. And the other one indicates the large statuary of what you now know is the goddess Artemisia, because a replica of that is in the hall with the Roman artifacts in the hotel. But this one is on the terraces.
I suggest.
We know where the ritual will take place, amongst these trees, but to wait until the moment he is brought forth for sacrifice, that seems terribly dangerous. If there was a way of interrupting before it happens.
Where these X's are. Perhaps we don't go through the baths, people would see us there. But perhaps we could find our way in at the statue in the gardens, see if perhaps he's being held there.
Yes, rescue him before.
Scope out the area. And
then these hidden places or anything that looks disturbed.
And then we go to the ball and we potentially confront them or offer a solution, or an alternative.
When Miss Chesterton and I were helping with the preparations, they did seem almost keen to recruit us for their organisation. And
They did.
there was one woman in particular who was a new recruit, and she seemed quite keen to have more new faces to confer with. It may be if we run into her at the ball, one of us could perhaps just politely check where it is that we're going and where it is things are happening.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is rather a last-minute solution, but should we find nothing, we may or may not, by way of pretending, be able to garner some information from newer recruits.
That is an excellent idea.
It is.
But I do agree we ought to look first.
Perhaps early on in the ball, people won't have spilled out into the garden yet. If we were to arrive early, when people are still making their entrance and greeting each other in the main ballroom, perhaps that might be a good time to sneak outside into the gardens and investigate?
Yes, we should definitely have a look. But we should also look at the statue first, because that's nowhere near Huntley Hall. That's sort of over there.
Well, a wander to the terraces, I fear, good Captain, is probably a good way of restoring our constitutions after what was, alas, a rather lengthy service. Shall we wander on?
Some fresh air
Very
would
well.
be a great
Mrs. Ash?
constitutional, yes.
Miss Chesterton?
Thank you, Reverend. And she'll take his arm very elegantly, just resting her arm, like so.
And so all of you are heading to the terraces? Yes?
Yes.
Am I getting that? Okay. All right. Well, you're not sure about the fresh air, as the air almost feels heavy almost to the point of being oppressive. If there was smoke in the air or something along those lines, at least it would feel like it would make sense. But something, the air feels thick, and not the best. Certainly for one's constitution. The sky is overcast and gray, and everything around you seems almost devoid of color, ashen, almost gray, and certainly dying everywhere. Dry. If you touch any of the plants along the way, they crumble into dust in your fingertips. It's very desolate, is the best word that comes to mind as you make your way to the terraces. You wander through until you find the tall marble statue of the goddess Artemisia. She is there with her hands outstretched, her features looking down in almost expectantly, and the raised shape of the coins in each of her hands, just as it is with the Roman artifacts in the hotel. The front area there seems to be a section with the low fencing, wrought iron fencing around it, almost as if you would expect it to be almost like a gravestone with the grave area marked off. It gives you almost chills looking at it from that perspective. And I would like everyone to give me a spot hidden roll, please.
Ooh.
Can I check as well the stuff the nature dying around us?
Yes.
It doesn't seem natural. It doesn't seem like everywhere else that I go in the world where it's sort of, this is the natural season in the way of things.
Go ahead and make me a natural world roll while you're at it.
That is a failure on my spot hidden, 66 over
Okay.
25.
Also
I
a
got a-
total failure here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a failure for me too.
I got a hard success on my spot hidden, but I got a failure on my natural world.
Okay.
Ooh.
So on the natural world roll, you're not sure. You tend to stay mostly at sea, and you're not a big fan of being on land for various reasons. So you're not sure if this would be natural or not. It doesn't entirely feel natural to you, but then again, being on land doesn't feel like your natural environment either. So you're not entirely sure where that falls. Okay, so with the spot hiddens, so we have one hard success and everyone fails. Well, that's okay. Our dear captain, I believe, has our hard success. Fabulous. That actually works very well because, Captain, you have a keen eye just due to your experience, various experiences. Having a keen eye to details is very important for a number of reasons that may become apparent at some point soon. You notice at the base of the statue something that was noticed on the base of the statue in the hotel. You notice a set of 4 stones that look very, very similar. In fact, they look almost exact to the replica that is in the hotel. They have the Roman numerals on them, and I do believe that I have that up in, let's see, I will put that out once again so everyone can see them. If everyone can see them, they are in the Discord as well as in Roll20. So you have the first stone has the Roman numerals for 19. The second one is for 2. The third one has the Roman numerals 8. And the fourth one has the Roman numerals for 12. And I do believe that you all had figured out that each of those numbers correspond with a letter of the alphabet. And that those spelled out something very specific in a previous episode. The other thing, because you got a hard success, you also noticed something else. Unlike the stones at the base of the statue in the hotel, these particular stones don't look to be fully attached to the statue. And I will leave it to you to go from there.
Can I try and pick them up and reorder them to be, let me get this right, 2, 12, 8, 19.
You go to reach out, step in, and you go to reach out to grab one of them. It has a little bit of looseness to it, but you can't pull it. You feel more that perhaps if you go the instead of pulling, maybe the other direction might produce a different result.
I'll give it a push.
Excellent. In what order do you push them?
In the order I said. 2, 12, 8, 19. I think it's the right order.
Yes, that is correct. And which each of them corresponding to B, L, H, and S in the alphabet, which you all now know definitely represents the Buxton Ladies Horticultural Society. The captain pushes the stones in that order. At every push, you hear some grinding, maybe turning of a gear or two. And as you push the final stone into place, you definitely, all of you, feel the ground shake a little bit underneath your feet. You hear the grinding of stone against stone and the click, 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 click of what you believe are gears as the ground that is contained from the end of the statue throughout the fenced off area slides away. and reveals a set of stone stairs, circular, going down into the earth.
Shall we?
Well, that's certainly convenient for them.
I think
I'll
we
go
must.
first. And I'll start walking down the stairs.
How dark is it down there? And do we have any kind of light source? Did matches exist at this point?
I'll pull out the lighter that I stole earlier.
Yes, the non-existent lighter
The
from
historically anachronistic lighter, but never mind.
the time.
We like it.
And if it's really dark, I'll sort of light it and see if that causes any light enough to see anything. Probably not.
So they're because it's the middle of the day, but no one seems about, probably because of the weather and in how the surrounding area, and probably everyone's off, having left the church to go to the home to start preparing for the spring ball for the evening and the festivities therein. There is sunlight coming through, so you are able to make your way down a spiral, about a spiral and a half, before it kind of goes into darkness. But you also have the odd lighter that does provide a tiny bit of light, just enough that you pretty sure you're going to step on and be okay. Captain, since you are going first, after another spiral in the dark, it starts to lighten up down below as you realize that probably one more spiral down, there is some type of light coming through from somewhere.
I'm going to close the lighter and I'll turn back to the others and I'll very quietly whisper, there seems to be some sort of light further down.
I'm just going to look at the other two, sort of shrug, and then start very carefully walking down the stairs.
Is there any sign of any people down there with the light?
Is there any sign of any people down there?
You do not hear any movement, no voices, nothing that indicates other human beings down here.
I don't think so. And I'll continue on forwards.
I wonder if it's a passage leading out again, or a chamber with a torch of some kind in there.
There's only one way to find out, Miss Chesterton, and that is once more into the breach, dear friend.
Indeed. Lead on.
You follow each other down, especially following the captain, down the last twist of the staircase. And yes, there is indeed almost a doorway type arch cut into stone. And there is light coming from beyond there. It seems to open into another small room. That's about as much as you can see from here.
There's no other people around.
You do not hear anything.
I wonder if this might be the heart of their ritual work, their temple, their church.
Does the arch have any particular Greco-Roman style to it?
It does, as a matter of fact. It does seem to impart old stonework in a style, very, very classical style.
I feel, Miss Chesterton, you have hit the nail on the head. This definitely does look like a temple of sorts. Pray, Captain Trumpeter, lead on. I fear we should investigate a little further.
I shall lead on.
You go through the arch opening and you find yourself in a once grand room. It comes to mind the classical interpretation of the gymnasium, which is not which in the Roman and Greek time was a bit different than the exercise space that it has kind of become a bit even now. It is covered in growing vines with larval pupae on the vines. The crumbling walls and frescoes that you see are stunning. This would be an archaeologist, archaeologist could probably be down here studying this for quite some time. And just so much to see. And you notice that in this space, there are remains of ancient Roman combat weaponry, spears, blades, a couple of shields. It feels a little damp down here, but these weapons still seem to be free of rust. They're not in, let's say, brand new condition, but they, by all accounts, should be rusted and possibly covered in mineral deposits, but they look to be in fairly good shape for as old as they are, and the moisture that you're getting in this space.
Mr. Fergusson.
I wonder if the...
Sorry.
You go. It's okay.
Mr. Fergusson has a particular interest in history and archaeology. Can he look at them and see whether they are genuine artifacts or whether these are more modern reproductions of them?
Oh, go ahead and give me a roll, and I'll let you. You said you had archaeology or history?
I think this is more an archaeology over history. They're fairly close. I'm going to roll archaeology.
Okay.
That is an 87 over 40. A failure.
So you look at these, and while you feel that they seem to offhand feel authentic. I mean, they look down to the detail from what you've seen in the books that you've read. You're not able to say authenticate, and it would seem odd that how could weapons be that ancient in this type of atmosphere and not have some, sign of exposure to this over the years. So it's confusing.
Can I push the roll? In order to get
Absolutely.
a closer look at the patina and the particular metalwork, I want to take one of them and just wipe it on my sleeve to see whether we've got any particular rust that's too fine to see, or whether we can actually determine whether the metal, once we've rubbed off what dirt is on there, looks old or new.
I'd say yes.
Push
You're going to take a little bit of time. Yep.
Can you spend luck on a pushed roll? That's 41 over 40.
Oh,
so close.
Oh, no.
So close.
Oh, I wish you could at that point, but unfortunately not. So you get up close and to a blade. That seems to be the easiest. And you wiping it off, and you're really taking a good look at it. The leather wrapping on it does not fall apart. The little gold coin that are decoration on it still seem to be intact. It's not rust when you wipe it on your sleeve. There is a tiny sheen of maybe a little bit of almost dust, which is slightly damp, but you can tell it's not rust. But you're still not able to say with any certainty whether or not these are actual ancient weapons or they're just reconstructions, very, very, very good reconstructions that have just been sitting down here for quite a while. The rest of you, as he does this, again, you see these weapons in kind of put around the room. There are Some of the walls are crumbling a bit. There are frescoes to be seen. But all of you also notice that there are the large doors at the end on the other side of the room, of the space, and they are open somewhat. There is more light coming through, and you feel almost a bit of fresh air, but coming from those doors.
I'm going to take one of the shields. Do I want to take a sword? Nah, I'll just take a shield. I think I don't know what other stuff I have. Who knows? I could take a sword. Sure. I'm going to take a sword and shield. Sorry, that took me a long time to decide. And I'm just going to peek through the door before I actually go.
I wonder if the Romans sacrificed gladiators to this goddess. Perhaps these were their weapons.
The thumbs down meant the man's head were to be cut off and cast into the waters.
Indeed.
Captain, as you peek through the doors to see, you notice a set of stone stairs that kind of zigzag down, but very clearly its destination makes your eyes go wide. For what you see is a temple, a full-size temple that must have been erected by Roman hands. The size and scope of this temple rises that of any archaeological ruin in Italy that you came across on one of your shore leaves, one of your travels. You can tell that this must be the Temple of Artemisia because you see the figures that seem to indicate, as well as some writing above, that you're pretty sure if with everything going on, must be the Temple of Artemisia. There are some vines that you can see kind of on it. It's crumbling a little bit, but it is still very much intact. And as you poke your head in, can you please give me a listen roll?
Certainly can. LLL. Listen. A success. 12v20.
Okay. You listen and you hear what sounds like you hear noise. You're not entirely sure what, but there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere much farther in. You're not sure. It could be a voice, but it's really hard to make out, and it's very faint.
I will turn back to the others and say, well, I think we've certainly found the place we're looking for.
Yes, if anyone was going to host a human sacrifice, this is certainly fitting.
I heard something. I don't know if it was a person.
Perhaps we should all go back and fetch some weapons as well.
I'll very jokingly hold up the sword in an on guard and then drop it.
Do you think we should all arm ourselves?
I'm not dropping it as in I'm going to drop my arm.
Surely we outnumber anybody down here anyway. Unless there's another entrance. We saw nobody else up at the front, at the entrance ourselves. It must be a rat.
Well, there's another entrance in the baths, and there's more than likely another entrance somewhere else.
Oh, good point.
Hopefully.
Yes, I forgot. I quite forgot that. In that case, after you, good sir, after you.
Your courage is wonderful, my dear fellow. And I'll very quietly walk through the doors.
Okay. All right. I'm guessing everyone follows?
Very tentatively and sneakily.
All right. Yes, as you all exit the palastra, uh, you go through the doors and you also now see this incredible temple, as if someone had, uh, as if a god had come in, reached a hand down in ancient Greece or Rome, picked it up and somehow pocketed it here in this space. You look up and you see uh, sorry, you see stalactites.
Stalactites hold tight to the ceiling.
That's right. Thank you.
Stalactites have a C.
Still getting my coffee in me. You see stalactites coming down from the ceiling. So you know you are still in your mind in an enclosed underground space. In fact, some of them are so long and large and have been created for so long, they actually meet and become part of the top of the temple. It is awe-inspiring. And a little terrifying to think that there is the space is large enough for it. You can tell that the cavern that you are in looks like, just from a little bit of the light that comes through on the top of the roof, that there is even space beyond it. But it looks like you need to go through the temple to reach the space beyond.
Shall we push on?
I think it can't hurt to get a full picture of what we're dealing with. And
Let's hope we
perhaps
can
somewhere
take
down
people
here
by
they're holding Miss
surprise.
Millwood.
That was my thought.
Shall we then?
Indeed. Let
We
us
shall.
move on.
Excellent. Okay, you come up to the temple itself. It's impressive. You could stay here, especially with your interest in history, Mr. Fergusson. You definitely could spend hours and days down here examining everything. But now, all of you, please make me a listen roll.
Am I making another one?
Yes.
80 over 50, failure.
Oh, wow.
I've
99
just
over
done
20.
Oh no.
I got nothing.
I have a very narrow success of 20 against 20.
That works.
About as narrow as you can get.
For those that succeed, you now hear also sounds, but it doesn't sound like a voice. It sounds more metallic, and there doesn't seem to be a pattern. It just occasionally you hear a sound of metal on metal. It's not loud. It's quite faint, even from where you are. But it is there. And now
Is it kind of like a scraping or like a tool hitting something?
more along the lines of a jingling.
Okay.
As if metal bits were kind of jingled against each other. Ting, 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 ting. Ting, ting.
Did
So
anyone else hear that? I'm wondering, it's the sound of metal on metal, and it could be the sound of a chain, or perhaps of a jailer's keys jingling.
Well, we are looking for a potential prisoner down here.
We are. But a prisoner must have a jailer.
Let us hope that the jailer is currently elsewhere for all of our sakes.
Yes, let us hope it is the former. A chain and not a key.
When we move forwards, I'm like keeping the shield up and the sword pointing forwards, and I'll stay in front of everyone else.
Excellent. Moving into the temple itself, you realize it's just a fairly bare, open space. There seems to be some raised, almost tables or areas that things could be put on. There are a few pillars where there are some statues, various statuary, all of which seem to very, very Romanesque in nature, very similar in cut and style to the statues that you have seen. All of them seem to be of a beautiful young woman in various states. Some of them, she is standing with gold coins around her feet. Another one she stands with looks like beautiful flowers in full bloom around her. As you move through, it's fairly open, and you do see the exit open on the other side, and you do see light and feel air coming through from there. So it just from looking through, you definitely can see that this goes on, and you see greenery on the other side through that little through the doorway on the other side. You smell fresh air. It's not just fresh air, but there's a scent of flowers but something rotten, like rotten meat it's almost a juxtaposition between the sweet scent of the flora that you would find in a garden and tinged with the smell of rotting meat. In the middle of the space, as you move through, you see that there is a podium. It's empty, but you can tell that something, probably another statue once was on it. It's very similar to the others that have the statuary off to the sides. And what catches your eye on top of this is wherever that statue, don't know where the statue is, but there is a hoard of coins, gold coins, silver coins, all catching the light that comes through. And they spill out from the top over onto the floor around the base. When you look closely, because there's a bunch of them and they're right there, you notice that these coins look exactly like the coins that were in the exhibition hall, but the Roman artifacts in the hotel. From that handout, you remember that the coins had Latin writing around it with the man's head in relief.
The visage
profile.
of Emperor Hadrian. Mr. Fergusson pulls out the flyer which he picked up in the baths. And I think, again, we'll rush over, pick up one of the coins and compare it to the flyer. It appears...
Yes.
It appears a match.
It does.
I think we're in the right place. I don't think we had any doubt about that, but this has confirmed it.
Does it strike anyone else as odd that there is greenery here?
The Graven
It does not
Grove.
look like it's dying.
The Graven Grove tree. From the poem. One to hold, one to cut. A midnight strikes and Mother Moon is high. 8 ladies dance around the Graven Grove tree. Keeper, you say we can smell fresh air. If Mr. Fergusson looks up, is there any crack in the roof or the ceiling where daylight is shining through to allow the moon, which would allow the moon to pass through at nighttime?
From inside the temple, you can't see it. You can't see. Are you stepping out from the temple to take a look?
At this point, Mr. Fergusson has a hypothesis and he throws caution to the wind and strides out, looking upwards to try and see whether he can work out where that fresh air is coming from.
You step out from the back of the temple, which it's crumbling. And so the doorway, part of the ceiling has caved in on one corner. there's a bit of rubble, but you kind of make your way through it. And as you plan to look up, as you step through and kind of have to watch where you're walking, and you step out, and as your gaze starts to go up towards, it stops as you stare at a sight that is beyond anything you've even imagined. You see a glittering grove. And what strikes you most is you are instantly taken back to that vision that you had when you drank the waters, the vision in the dream with Artemisia, a grove like the fairy tales of Albion. You see, it's like a different world, a different land. Everything is green and lush. The flowers growing bright and beautiful. But what strikes you most is the tree. The huge, massive tree in the middle. The waters that run around it, like streams and pools, glitter a deep aquamarine blue. You're maybe thinking that these might be geothermal, but they glitter. The flickering lights, that there seems to be small cracks in the ceiling where light is coming through, including one large, almost hole at the top of the cavern, where right now the sunlight is passing through. You're not entirely sure where on the surface that is, but there definitely is one there. And the light reflects off of the waters that you see around this tree, this space. But then you realize that the glittering is not just the reflection of the light on the water, but the gold coins within the water, filled with them, glittering away in the light. The tree, your eyes are drawn back to it because it's massive. Its branches extend almost the entire breadth of this space above. And it is what the fruit that seemed to hang from the tree, that seemed to be embedded in the bark. I would like you to roll me sanity, please.
Because I followed him. So
That is a 49 over 40, a failure.
You will take a D6 of sanity as your mind realizes what it sees.
That's a 1
Human.
point.
Okay. The fruit is not fruit. The knots in the trees are not knots. Because of the size, it takes a moment for your mind to wrap itself around that the fact of what these are human heads. Lots of them in all various levels of decay. At least you think they should be decayed, but the fact is they're not. They have shrunken a little bit. The mouths are open, the eyes half, some of them wide, some of them half closed in various states of fear or reluctance. But they're not desiccated like they should be. And there are so many of them, like lights on baubles on a Christmas tree. And then you hear the ching, ching, ching of chains as you see chained up, spread on the stone altar in front of the tree. one gentleman by the name of Mr. Henry Millwood. And it is with that, I'm going to bring this particular episode to a close. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being with us. Please return to us one last time as we find out what happens in the finale on part 2 of this, episode 6. We will see you then. Thank you and good night.